When we're thinking about muscle mass and cognition, and you mentioned something, so I just want to piggyback on you. So you got to be lifting heavy. Is the goal muscle hypertrophy? Is the goal strength? Sometimes those are different, like we can mediate like different outcome, like you can train differently for a strength outcome versus a hypertrophy outcome. Is that what is that which of those is more important in your opinion when we're thinking about it in this, not to look good in your jeans, but like, we're talking about you're not training for your summer body, you're training for your old lady body. You want to be like a kick-ass 95-year-old or 85-year-old, whatever it is. What is the outcome that we have with muscle when we're resistance training? Is it hypertrophy, as much muscle mass as possible? Or with the muscle mass that we have, is it to be as strong as possible?
It's to be as strong as possible. And here's why. We see that there's a really great study that came out, I believe it was in China, and it showed that a mild difference in asymmetry of grip strength can mean cognitive decline. And they measured this via a dynamometer. So they got the grip strength and they saw that if you've got a difference, if you're really strong on your right hand, but you're less strong on your left hand in terms of grip strength, then what does that mean? If there was an asymmetry of more than greater than 10%, then you have a greater propensity of all-cause mortality and cognitive decline. So when I look at this, I'm looking at how can we get you stronger for several reasons. We can also think about bone mass density, which is evidently not just diminished, but we see that plays a huge role in the perimenopausal and postmenopausal state as well. So we're really working on strength for that. And then we also need to take into consideration something else, another subsection of exercise, which is neurocognitive training. I've coined that as neuroathletics training. These are the things that we need to be incorporated on a daily basis. And it pretty much involves looking at the visual system, looking at hand-eye coordination, reaction time. These things diminish as well as we age. And your brain basically takes the notion of use it or lose it. And every area of the brain is responsible for something different. So if you are not working on your strength or your reaction time or your vision, those areas of your brain seem to decline and die off because they think, well, you're not using me. So I always look at strength over hypertrophy.
Strength. And so this is why you're recommending, as heavy, obviously the literature is very clear, like anywhere 5 to 30 reps in any set is going to lead to muscle hypertrophy, provided, big asterisk, double underline, that you are 1 to 3 reps from muscle failure, or of course you can go to muscle failure if you like. But strength is a little bit more of a condensed range. So it's usually heavier for less reps because we are trying to, is that what you would recommend when we're thinking about strength as the outcome? Is like heavier weight, but a smaller set, or smaller reps,
Yes,
I should say.
that's correct. But if we are looking at purely, hey, Louisa, well, how do I excrete as many myokines as possible? What the literature actually says is you want to be doing 80% of your 1 repetition max, which is quite heavy, right? So let's just say that you push 100 kilos or you can deadlift 100 kilos. You want to be doing your actual training sets as 4 sets, 6 reps of 80 kilos, because that is 80% of your 1 repetition max. Therefore, I do believe that everyone, including myself, should be getting a personal trainer if you can, or getting somebody to help you really work out what is your 1 repetition max. And then over, let's just say, a 6 to 8 week period, just working at 80% for that specific exercise.
Okay. So let's get back to neurocognitive training or neuroathletics.
Mm.
Is that sort of like there was an app I used to play with. It was like, I think it was called Duel and Back, where it would give you
Okay. Yes.
like a picture and then another picture and then it would erase and and it would go away and then you would have to figure out where in the screen it was, and then it would just get more and more complex, and sometimes there was auditory beeps as well as images. Is that what you're talking about when you're talking about neurocognitive training? Is there learning a language? What are some of the examples that you can give us that are going to keep our brains sharp as well?
The best thing you can do is get 2 tennis balls and start throwing them to the wall, overhand grip. Stand about a meter away from the wall and start throwing the ball to the wall with your right hand, and just see if you can keep doing that for a minute. Switch over to the left hand, and then maybe you want to alternate. Throw with the right, catch with the left, throw with the left, catch with the right. Then what you want to maybe do is stand on one leg. I mean, it is like you can do so many different types of this training. It's endless, right? I think I've come up with like 1,000 different ways that you can just throw a tennis ball. You're improving so many things in your brain, but not just that. You're improving the demand that you place upon it.
Yeah.
I get asked often, well, Louisa, can't I just do Sudoku? It's like, well, yes, but no, right? It's like saying, can I walk or can I run? I mean, running is going to yield greater results. So you're really thinking, you want to think to yourself, how can I make something hard so my brain can kind of be put under stress, good stress, the allostatic stress, and build back from it.
So it's like eye-hand coordination. Maybe you play with balance. You could do it on a Bosu ball.
Yeah.
Maybe like eyes are
Yep.
closed and you take out the visual cortex and make it even more challenging. Maybe not the
Mm-hmm.
tennis ball. Maybe that's not a good example of it, but
Yeah.
there can be balance challenges. We used to do in the clinic, is it the strobe test, where it was
Yeah, I love that.
the word was yellow, but it was green. And we would say to the person, say the
Mm-hmm.
color, but they would read the word yellow and they'd want to say yellow, even though
Stroop test.
Stroop, sorry, not strobe. The Stroop
Yes.
test, yeah. So that is, and then we would get them to write, we would get them to do it forwards and we get them to do bottom all the way up, like all these different ways that you can sort of increase the cognitive demand of things.
Yeah, and I bring my parents into this a lot, almost every talk I have, and I get them to actually do it with each other for 10 minutes a day. Just I get them like go outside in the backyard first thing in the morning, and they're throwing the ball to one another. So it's like it's a great partner exercise as well, and get used to it, and then you can get harder and harder. And one thing that's really great is that you can go to CVS and buy like a $5 eye patch, like a pirate eye patch. It's used for if you've got an eye infection. And when you do that, you can throw the ball to the wall with that eye patch on, and you're pretty much predominantly blocking out half of your brain, right? So it gets harder, and then you get better eyesight. So I love doing that type of training.